During the year I do Blazing 5, but in the Blazing 5 I've got 15, 16 games to pick from, and I pick 5. There's only one game here, maybe 2 I would actually bet. I only have 4 games on the docket. There's one I think's a pretty good bet. Outside of that, I'm just going to tell you who I think is going to win the games. I like 2 favorites this weekend, and I like 2 underdogs to win outright this weekend, so let's not waste any time and get to the picks for our wild card weekend. Listen, I would take the underdog Buffalo Bills to win this. I think they're going to win it straight out. I think coaching matters in the playoffs, and I think they have the better coaching staff. Now, Bill O'Brien's not a bad coach because you can't keep winning your division, and they do with a bad coach. But the Texans have been outgained this year. They remind me of a really talented flag football team where you never know what you're going to get. They can be totally outplayed, but because their quarterback and wide receivers are so gifted, they make crap up and win. But the Bills have one of the better defenses in the NFL. They do not give up cheap touchdowns, and Houston lives off cheap touchdowns. And the Buffalo Bills don't give them up. Their defense, number 2 in total defense, number 2 in scoring defense. Also, Josh Allen, if you worry about him, the young quarterback for Buffalo, bizarrely better on the road this year, much better on the road than he was at home. I'm going to take Buffalo to win the game straight out, regardless of points, 24-23 Bills. I like New England to win the football game. Listen, first of all, they're undefeated this year when they hold people under 20. And Ryan Tannehill, in his career, has faced the Patriots and Belichick a lot. He's been awful. Belichick destroys average quarterbacks. And most of Tannehill's career, forget the last 2 months, he's been average. He's 0-6 at Foxborough. 5 touchdowns, 10 picks, and a passer rating of 70. Tannehill has been eaten alive by Belichick, and I do think Tennessee here has better offensive personnel by a stretch, but believe me, Belichick knows Tannehill, he knows Vrabel, and New England, special teams are still great, defense is still excellent, home they're great, they're excellent situationally, they're brilliantly coached, and Brady can still muster up, if he doesn't face a great pass rush, very good halves of football. I think the Patriots win this puppy. It's kind of classic New England. They'll get a fumble or 2. They'll block a punt. 27-24 Patriots. Listen, everybody likes the Saints. So do I. Now, the wise guys like Minnesota and the points. I just think New Orleans wins by more than a touchdown. It's a Kirk Cousins factor. Now, if Delvin Cook plays, Minnesota can take the ball and play a little bit of keep away. But I think the Saints' defense is better than everybody thinks. We know their offense is great. They're averaging 34 points a game since week 11. They have Mike Thomas is a guaranteed 12 targets and 9 catches a game. Drew Brees in the last 4 games, 15 touchdowns, no picks. They have one of the great home field advantages, and they don't turn it over. Unlike the Texans, you get the upside without the goofiness. Only 8 turnovers, the fewest in the NFL. And let's be honest, Minnesota's been good my entire life. Do you trust the Vikings in big spots? They haven't won a road playoff game since 2005. There are moments they've outplayed teams at home, like the Seahawks years ago, and they can't kick a 15-yard field goal. I just don't trust Minnesota. I haven't all year. I do not trust them in this spot, so I'm going to take the Saints to win around the number 28-20. This is the toughest game for me. This is the one, Philadelphia's getting points. I think Philadelphia is going to win a very close football game. They're both falling apart physically. I get 2 great quarterbacks and 2 excellent coaches. Carson Wentz has carried this franchise. Now, some people say, well, has Carson Wentz ever played a playoff game? The last 3 weeks have felt like a playoff game. Seattle travels very well. But if you go look at Russell Wilson, he's lost his last 3 road playoff games. I just don't think Seattle against this Philadelphia defensive front is going to muster a consistent offense, and they're going to be kind of beholden for Russell Wilson to save them. I think he's going to be under duress all weekend. Philadelphia is a very limited offensive football team. They can kind of win one way. But Wentz is hot. Philadelphia's at home. They have a major advantage defensive line to Seahawks offensive line. They're beat up, but they feel less beat up today than they were a month ago. I would take Philadelphia in overtime. I actually think this is going to be the game of the weekend to watch. I think this is going to be a great football game. Classic, tough, great coaches, great quarterback play. 26-23, Philadelphia in overtime wins the game. And those are my picks. So I take the dog, Buffalo Bills to win on the road, the dog, Eagles to win at home. And I think the Saints and you're going to have an upset here. You're not going to have 4 favorites win. It never works that way. So there you have it. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.